with you. What's your reaction to the latest news here?
Well, my initial reaction is an allergic one, because what it feels like is the family looking for some way to explain his behavior. And it feels like when people bring up CTE, that it's like you're abdicating responsibility somehow. But I want to quickly just tell a little story. When Junior Seau committed suicide, the issue of CTE came up, and I was doing a radio show with Marcellus Wiley, who was a teammate of Junior Seau's and close to him. And Marcellus was an emotional mess that day. And it just rubbed me the wrong way. And you don't want to talk about someone, particularly on a day like that. But I remember thinking, boy, to bring up CTE as an excuse, just I don't like it. And I didn't know a lot about CTE at the time. And the more I learned about it, the more I realized, oh, no, this is actually a thing that does affect behavior. So we have no idea in Aaron Hernandez's case. I don't think it's likely, for what it's worth, given his age, his years in the league, the position he played, et cetera. But CTE is a thing. That's, and so, they'll investigate. But my reaction, my gut reaction is, whoa, don't, this guy was a homicidal maniac, and let's not start looking for excuses.
You bring up Junior Seau. My immediate response to that analogy, Max Kellerman, not that you were trying to make it, don't get me wrong, I'm just responding to it, is that I recall him hurting himself, not other people. And when I think about Aaron Hernandez, that's where my sympathy goes out the window. Sympathy for his 4-year-old daughter, sympathy for his fiance, sympathy for his family, his brother, his mom, and others. But I also remember CTE wasn't an issue when Robert Kraft, the revered owner for the New England Patriots, went into that courtroom and testified during his trial and talked about a timeline that took place and basically confessed to having been duped when he spoke to the media. I don't recall CTE coming into play when people talked about his past transgressions. And when we look at CTE, one of the things that we allude to is the cumulative effect of playing football, the violent sport that it is, and the kind of impact that it could have on the brain. Well, at age 17, Aaron Hernandez reportedly arrested as a 17-year-old juvenile after an altercation during the freshman year at a local campus hangout known as the Swamp. Was there the cumulative effect at that particular moment in time? Was there an effect when he admitted that, he was smoking weed and doing other things that he wasn't supposed to be doing a couple of years later? Was that an issue 5 years later when he was accused of or involved or being questioned by prosecutors for the shooting of 2 men? These are the kind of things that I'm talking about. I don't want to hear about CTE when it comes to Aaron Hernandez, because if this were the only incident that took place, that would be different. But when you have a situation where there is a body of evidence spanning more than a decade, and this man is only 27 years of age, I'm not saying it's true or not, because I'm no doctor, I'm no brain expert or anything like that. But I will say to you, as a human being that's thinking about the Odin Lloyd family, the individual that was murdered by Aaron Hernandez, had 6 bullets pumped in him, I don't want to hear about CTE. This man had issues, and I don't think that CTE should be to blame for it.
Bravo, bravo. I'm not debating either of you. I think I understood both of your points to their full weight. So when I say this, it's not necessarily directed at either of you. There comes a point where you try to be so smart that you're stupid. And if we're going to look for environmental and external and football-related and medical factors that might explain a homicidal maniac, in your words, Max, words that I echo, you've gotten to the stupid point. Now, can CTE affect behavior? Yes. Does it exist? Yes. Does that mean that it affects behavior? No. And in fact, a lot of the behaviors we ascribe to CTE are behaviors that many people exhibit. Bipolar disorders, depression, moods all over the place, perhaps violence. There's a ton of people in society that have those behaviors. And as you point out, Stephen A., with Aaron Hernandez, this started in his teens. And I think what we're doing here at some point gets to be really insidious, because what's going on is, A, you may not be excusing Aaron Hernandez, but are you lessening his blame? If you're not lessening his blame, are you shifting it to some point? What are you shifting it to? Football? Are you shifting it to the NFL? Because, by the way, you can open up a can of worms. Are you going to allow Aaron Hernandez's family to sue the NFL for wrongful death, for his suicide because of CTE? We see those suits going on. Does Aaron Hernandez qualify just like Dave Duerson did? At some point, you got to call it what it is. And he was a homicidal maniac in football, in CTE.
Let me just say one thing here. Again, I know we need to go to break soon. And I'm not defending anything that Aaron Hernandez did. CTE, clearly a very real thing, and I don't want to diminish what it is. We don't have a ton of research. You can't test it until somebody's passed away. But this is a mother, and if you read the article that came from his brother's perspective, I told you I know his brother and couldn't be a better kid, polar opposite. And his mother saying, I don't get what went wrong. I don't know what the heck happened to this kid. This is his family who's asking for this. So they want answers. Can you blame them if they're hoping that there's something connected to this? It's not always a cop-out, I want money. Sometimes it's like, there's got to be a reason for this type of behavior.
I wanted to bring that up.
Because if it was my kid, I would do the exact same thing.
I wanted to bring that up because when you say you, like the proverbial you,
yes.
In this case, it's not the media or anyone like that. It's Aaron Hernandez's family. So I can understand.
Well, it starts that way. It starts that way.
Okay, but at this moment, I can understand where a family member wants to look for something other than a defect in the person that they are related to.
Hey, Liz, when I was writing for the New York Daily News, starting out my career in 1993, I had to write a story about a guy that was a drug dealer that got blown away in broad daylight, approximately 2 in the afternoon in the Bronx, New York. It was an end zone piece for the New York Daily News when I was a high school writer. He was a drug dealer. He was also an individual that was involved in that life. His mother was in complete denial. God bless her wonderful soul. When you are acting in that way, the way that Aaron Hernandez was acting, Molly, it's not like you go home and tell mama.